Have you ever wondered if a small act of kindness can truly change a life? And really change it, in a way that ripples through time and comes back in the most unexpected way imaginable. Today I want to share a story with you that might just restore your faith in humanity. It's a story about a loaf of bread, a struggling mother, and a gesture that cost so little but was worth everything. Imagine this: a bustling supermarket on a Tuesday afternoon. The lights are a little too bright. The air is filled with the low hum of refrigerators and the beeping of scanners. A woman named Sarah stands in line, her young son Leo holding her hand tightly. Leo is maybe 7 years old, with big, curious eyes, swinging his legs back and forth. In their basket, there isn't much. Just a few essentials to get them through the week, and most importantly, a simple loaf of bread. For Sarah, this trip to the store was an act of courage. She had recently lost her job, and money was tighter than it had ever been. Every penny was accounted for. She had counted the change in her purse a dozen times, calculated the total in her head, and believed she had just enough. Her heart pounded in her chest as she placed the items on the conveyor belt. The cashier, a woman named Maria, gave her a gentle, knowing smile. Maria had worked this checkout for 15 years. She had seen everything: the joyful families stocking up for a celebration, the lonely individuals buying a single meal, and the ones like Sarah whose quiet anxiety was almost palpable. The bread was the last item. Beep! The total appeared on the screen. Sarah's breath caught in her throat. It was a few dollars more than she had calculated. A wave of heat washed over her face. She fumbled with her purse, pulling out a debit card she knew was almost empty, praying for a small miracle. She swiped it. The machine beeped, a harsh, unforgiving sound. Declined, the screen flashed in bold red letters. She tried again. Declined. Shame, hot and sharp, pricked at her eyes. She started to pull the loaf of bread back, her voice barely a whisper. "I'm so sorry, I can't. Just leave the bread." She tried to smile, to pretend it was okay, but her lip quivered. Little Leo looked up at her, his face a canvas of confusion and concern. "Mommy, what about my sandwiches for school?" he asked, his small voice cutting through the noise of the store. And that's when it happened. Before Sarah could even answer, Maria, the cashier, simply reached into her own pocket, pulled out a few crumpled bills, and placed them in the register. She scanned the bread again. Beep. "There you go," she said softly, bagging the bread and handing it to Sarah. "Don't you worry about it. Every kid needs their sandwiches." Sarah just stood there, stunned. She opened her mouth to protest, to say she couldn't accept, but the words wouldn't come out. Instead, tears she had been fighting back began to fall silently down her cheeks. She wasn't sobbing loudly. It was a quiet, profound grief and gratitude all mixed into one. She looked at Maria, her eyes screaming the thank you her voice couldn't manage. Maria just nodded, giving her a reassuring look that said, "I understand. It's okay." Sarah grabbed the bag, took Leo's hand, and walked out of the store, her world tilted on its axis by the kindness of a stranger. That night, Leo ate a sandwich, and Sarah held onto the receipt, not as a reminder of her struggle, but as a testament to the goodness she had found in the middle of it. Years went by. Life, as it does, moved on. Sarah eventually found a new job, and then a better one. They moved to a different part of the city. Leo grew up. He never forgot that day in the supermarket. He never forgot the sting of his mother's silent tears or the warmth of the cashier's smile. That memory became a quiet, driving force in his life. He saw firsthand how a small act of help could feel like a lifeline. He studied harder than anyone, fueled by a desire to be the person who could offer that lifeline to others, but on a much larger scale. He poured all his energy into science, into medicine. He wanted to fix things, to heal people, to take away their pain in the same way Maria had taken away his mother's pain for a fleeting yet unforgettable moment. Fast forward about 20 years, we're now in a clean, bright hospital corridor. A distinguished-looking man in a crisp white doctor's coat walks purposefully down the hall. His name badge reads Dr. Leo Vance. He's a respected cardiologist, known not just for his skill, but for his compassion. He has his mother's kind eyes. An elderly woman is admitted to his ward, suffering from a serious heart condition. She's alone, a little scared, and her insurance situation is complicated. Her name is Maria. As Dr. Vance reviewed her chart, the name didn't immediately register. Maria was a common name after all. He went to her room to introduce himself. He saw an older woman, her hair now silver, her face etched with the lines of a long life. But her smile was just the same, gentle, knowing as they talked. She mentioned she had been a cashier at the old city supermarket for most of her life before retiring. And in that instant, it was like a lightning bolt for Leo. The memory, crystal clear, came flooding back. The fluorescent lights, the beeping scanner, the loaf of bread, his mother's silent tears. He looked at the woman in the hospital bed, and he didn't just see a patient. He saw the angel who had bought him his school sandwiches. He saw the woman who showed him what compassion looked like. He didn't say anything at first. He simply continued his professional duties, ensuring Maria received the absolute best care possible. He personally oversaw her case, running extra tests, consulting with colleagues, and spending time by her bedside, not just as a doctor, but as a comforting presence. He saw the worry in her eyes when the hospital administrator came to discuss the mounting bills, the same worry he had seen in his own mother's eyes all those years ago. Maria's surgery was a success. She was on the road to a full recovery. The day she was due to be discharged, the hospital administrator brought her the final bill. It was a staggering amount. Maria's hands trembled as she looked at the number. She had a small pension, but this would wipe her out completely. Just then, Dr. Vance walked in, holding a file. He smiled at her, that same gentle smile she had given a young mother and her son 2 decades earlier. "Maria," he said, his voice soft, "don't worry about this." He took the bill from her hands. On the front, stamped in big red letters, were the words, "Paid in full." Maria looked at him, utterly bewildered. "But, who?" Dr. Vance pulled up a chair. 20 years ago, he began, you were working at the city supermarket. A woman and her little boy came through your line. They couldn't afford a loaf of bread, but you paid for it. You probably don't remember. It was a small thing for you. But for that little boy, it was everything. It taught him that kindness matters. It's the reason he became a doctor. Tears started to well up in Maria's eyes as the memory, foggy at first, slowly came into focus. She looked at the handsome doctor in front of her, and she saw a faint echo of a small boy with big, curious eyes. That little boy was me, Leo finished quietly. Your bill was paid a long, long time ago with a loaf of bread. Maria began to cry, but this time, they were not the silent, pained tears of a struggling mother. There were tears of pure, unadulterated joy and disbelief. The kindness she had put out into the world had returned to her, multiplied 1,000 times over, right when she needed it most. This story isn't just about a doctor and a cashier. It's a powerful reminder for all of us. Never know the impact of your actions. That $5 you give, that door you hold open, that kind word you offer to a stressed-out stranger, it might seem insignificant to you. But to the person receiving it, it could be the one thing that helps them get through the day. It could be the memory that inspires them to chase a dream, to become a better person, to one day pay that kindness forward. Goodness is a boomerang. What you throw out into the universe has a way of finding its way back to you. So be the Maria in someone's life today. You might just be helping a future Dr. Leo. Thanks so much for watching. If this story touched you, please give it a like and share it with someone who needs to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe for more content that hopefully brings a little more light into your day. See you next time.